Hi kids, welcome back to the channel. I'm really excited at the moment because of the recent finale and the last couple of episodes of Doctor Who. As I've said in previous posts and a previous video, my follower count has begun to steadily rise. It's been at sort of 200 forever. I once had something like, I'm saying about 1,500 subscribers a long time ago, and that was when my channel was purely me dressing up as Jack Sparrow, which is not going to happen this time, although I do have an event coming up in 3 weeks time where I will be in full Jack Sparrow for the day, so I'll try and get some footage of that. It's not something I'm going to do regularly anymore. I did it for about 11 years and I basically made myself quit because I was beginning to resent doing it, and it should be fun, right? Anyway, the subscriber count at the time of recording this is 470, which is another 20 since I was being all excited and grateful for 450. So if you've recently joined on, and I know obviously people have, and I've had, comments on other videos. I know 470 sounds like peanuts to some of the really well-to-do channels out there, but this is a good thing for me. It's an amazing thing for me. I'm super grateful, and I always do my best to reply to every comment, although weeks after a video has been posted, I can't keep going back to comments, as you can imagine. And I don't know how these big YouTubers manage. Maybe they just don't comment at all. I always get a kind of weird thing when people say, jump into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. And they never reply, or they very rarely reply, because they have thousands and thousands of subscribers. Obviously commenting and liking and subscribing and all that does help the algorithm, which is why people ask for it. But, in most cases, I do really want to know, what you guys think, etc. As I always say, please keep it nice. Everyone has opinions, and everyone has different ways of explaining those opinions. Case in point, someone sent a comment into me explaining why they didn't like Doctor Who, and they went into really extreme terms, and it was just unnecessary. I am aware of what someone means. You don't really have to go into let's say hostile language. I get it. I'm 56 years old this year. I do understand when people are, we don't have to talk like we're on the playground, okay? So it's not a case that I want to sanitize or censor everyone, but I just don't need it on my channel. I just don't like to see people turning it into a war zone. Okay. Anyway, with that said, let's move on. So I did ask all of y'all out there, all of y'all, I sound like a rapper, because I used to be, what I should do in the interim, and a lot of people just were nice enough to just say, dude, just be yourself. So it's project time. Aside from my second children's book and my short film that's coming up, Off-World Survivors, and all kinds of other things, my first 3 sci-fi novels are being republished this year, as part of Candy Jar Books' 15th anniversary, 15th birthday. And my book was the first book to be published by Candy Jar. In fact, Candy Jar was formed by myself and the CEO, Sean, in order to publish my first book. That was 15 years ago. Wow. Anyway, as you know, my recent trip to London to see the Tim Burton experience, there's a video on my channel about it, was I don't want to sound over dramatic, but it was life changing in a very profound way. Now, I've seen Tim Burton stuff before, not in person, but many books and videos and things like that. But there was something about being there in person and looking at the artwork, actually knowing it was scrawled onto in many cases, a restaurant napkin or an old notepad and splattered on with some watercolors and this kind of thing, and seeing the tactile physicality of it, and then the beauty of the puppets made by companies like McKinnon and Saunders and the many artists, just really drove home how nice it is to see some physical stuff again after a long time of animated stuff which remains in the computer and CGI and things like that. And I don't know if you know, but I used to work in a stop motion studio. I came in as kind of an artist, doing some storyboards and some character designs, and I used to work in the same place as the people who were sculpting and putting together the stop motion puppets in 1/6 scale, about 12 inches tall, and molding, casting foams, fiberglass, armatures in wire and in ball and socket, and then repainting them and scratch building, and I was like, can I have a go at that? So I was allowed to have a go at that, and I ended up making a number of puppets, and some of them still exist to this day. I don't know how. We're talking 1995-ish. It was really nice to have a hands-on physical job to do that kind of thing, and I haven't done anything like that for a long time. The closest I got to it was when I was in college doing my CGI animation degree. One of the parts of the character design section was to draw up a character and then get some plasticine and some clay and make a maquette, a little sculpture of the character, and then spray them and paint them. Apologies for the pictures not being too great, but it was a while ago, before decent camera phones. So I invented this character called Frankie the Cat, and you have to come up with the backstory, then you have to build him in CGI. I may have a CGI turnaround. If I do, it's there. If I don't, it's not there. But I don't have any singing, dancing, rigged version of it. I don't think he ever was. I think he was just a turnaround, because it was a sculpting and texturing exercise, really, mostly character design. But I really enjoyed making the maquette, and I thought, I'm going to make a maquette in an unashamedly Tim Burton style. And I've kind of got ideas of what I want to do already. So I'm going to build a character about 1/6 scale, but it's going to be about 7 inches sort of tall, on a little stand. Probably not posable. I'm going to try and make it in a harder medium, so it'll either be in Sculpey, which looks like this, which is a clay that you have to put in the oven at a very low temperature for a long time and it hardens, or Milliput, which hardens on its own but is quite sticky and fiddly to deal with, but at the end of the day it's sand. You can sand it and cut it and drill it and everything else. Both reasonably cheap. Sculpey is a little bit more expensive, but it's a really nice medium to sculpt in. I won't use normal clay because that tends to dry out and things like that. You can use plasticine, but that never hardens, and it only lasts a few years. Even if you primer it and paint it, it only lasts a couple of years. My maquette of Frankie fell apart a good few years ago. Anyway, so the first thing to do is draw what I want to do, come up with some ideas, and we'll take it from there. So let's do some drawing. So, how do you draw in the Tim Burton style? Well, I'm not an expert, but we're going with big heads, big eyes, little skinny necks, that kind of thing. A constantly shocked look, So I doodled and doodled, just remembering how to draw hands. And Tim Burton likes his stripes. So just coming up with all sort of different ideas. And then I came across the word weirdo, which I quite like. And I started gravitating towards a female character. And I do that. Now, this character is not original. I watched the Stain Boy cartoons on YouTube, and she's very similar to a girl called Stare Girl with a flat top head. And also she was used in Frankenweenie as well. But I'm drawn to female characters quite a lot, probably because I've got a daughter, and I don't think there are enough cool female characters. I could have easily done a character as a boy, but I like the idea of having someone who's a little bit, kind of slightly bizarre, wearing weird stripes and stuff. I've come up with it. There's a little boy character who looks like a bully. Another very confused lad there. Another kind of bully there. Why are all the boys I'm drawing quite aggressive? Oh, he's not aggressive. He looks spaced out. Anyway, things started coming together. I quite like the little top hat. So I started drawing this little character here. Big ears. I've done the ends of her hair on her head and on the back of her hair as well, in a different color. Mismatched fabrics, dots and stripes and things. Little rubber duck hanging from the backpack. Thought might be cool. Flowers to go on the shoes. Mismatched socks. There's another kind of idea here. Umbrella possibly. Obviously that question mark at the end of the umbrella is a complete steal from Sylvester McCoy's Doctor Who. I quite like that. It's the whole look at me, I'm a mystery type thing. So I've got this little character here, the weirdo, and I think that might be enough. Right, well, I've got my character. She's currently a little girl who I've nicknamed Weirdo, and unashamedly in the Tim Burton style of the big eyes and the little limbs and that kind of thing, and the huge heads. This project is going to go over a couple of weeks, a couple of videos. I hope it's not going to get boring for you, but I'm sure there are people out there who are big lovers of Tim Burton stuff, as I am, and also, like to make things with their hands and practical stuff. Disclaimer here, I'm not a premier expert. Like I say, I've worked in a stop motion studio, I've done little bits and bobs, but I'm not in the industry. I was never in the stop motion industry for very long. I make what I can, and I do the best with what I can with what I've got. There are many other ways of doing this, okay? There are much better people out there. I'm sure there are videos out there showing how it's done by professionals in the stop motion industry, in places like Leica and McKinnon and Saunders, as I mentioned. But come along with me if this is your thing, and hopefully it'll be fun to just watch. But if you want to make some stuff at the same time as me, let's do that. Let's do that as a little sort of craft project. I'm not going to make it into an animatable character. It'll be on a stand, and she'll be painted up and made to look quite nice. I might be able to pose her like the drawings, and we'll take it from there. I still haven't decided whether the clothes will be sculpted, or if I can find the right scale doll's clothes, etc., to go on there. I don't know yet. Either is a good idea. So let's see how that goes. Anyway, I hope you found that interesting. I will be doing videos about the current state of things, like the Fantastic Four and other pop stuff coming up, and what's happening with Doctor Who as well, because I do find it interesting. I'm not doing it just for clicks. And hey, this is just one of the many things that I like to do. I've also got the Off-World Survivors movie slowly crawling into existence. More to report on that as and when it happens. But that's it for this week. So take care, and I'll see you next time.